What's up, Black Love fam and first-time fam? We're getting ready to go man-to-man here on the Black Love Podcast Network. I'm David Wazicki, General Manager of Black Love, and I know you're going to love who I'm talking to today. But first, I have to give a shout out to Target. They've been partnering with HBCUs to support the next generation of Black talent. And one of the ways they're teaming up with HBCUs is through Target's HBCU Design Challenge, where HBCU students submit designs to be included in their Black History Month collection. And you know their Black History Month collection is fire. You see it everywhere, all month long in February. You can't miss it. All the designs are dope. So I'm really looking forward to that HBCU flavor that they're going to add into the mix. Winners of the Design Challenge get access to networking opportunities, mentoring, and more. So we gotta support this. It's truly an outstanding opportunity for up-and-coming Black talent. So please make sure you check back during Black History Month to see the latest winners at your local Target. I know I'm gonna check mine out. Shout out Target T1307 right here in LA. You know I'm gonna be there Feb 1 checking it out and see what's gonna be featured in their 2022 Black History Month collection. Celebrate your legacy, invest in the future. Together, we are Black Beyond Measure. Visit target.com/Black Beyond Measure to learn more. All right. And today we're talking to a man who is a life performance coach with a focus on fitness, which I think is dope. And we're going to get into that in a bit. He's also a father, New York native, one of the last of a dying breed. And before we get into all the things and all the background, let's get into it. Man to man with the Garnett Strother. Welcome, my brother.
Wow, that was amazing. That was the greatest intro I've ever had.
I will take that. And you're very welcome.
David, you're incredible. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, I'm a fan of the show now. Thank you for sharing that clip to get me like ready and everything. But man, your show was amazing. You had some amazing people. And I researched them, and I went like all through my trip to Egypt. The whole 10 hours, I was listening to you, listening to your guests. They were incredible, man. So kudos to you, kudos to the Black Love community, and I really hope I really hope what you're doing blows up to a major level.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that genuinely, and
of course,
yeah, same here. So I want to add you into the fray of amazing, dope men that we've been speaking to. And I'm sure the Black Love audience is going to think the same as we go down our journey. So before we go into said journey, I always want to start off with our blue check, actually our teal blue check certification for man to man. It's a man-to-man blue check certification question. So I got to get you on board, certified, part of the crew of amazing men that we've had so far.
I'm honored.
Well,
I'm honored to be among them.
Here it goes. You're about to be a part of it. So I ask everybody to get the seal of approval. What does masculinity mean to you?
Masculinity to me means to be a true warrior, not in the sense that I'm like running into battle with my sword out and like bravado, but in the sense of appreciation for mastery in all things. I think that a man today is a lot more complex than it was like when it was redefined in the turn of the century. I say of like 1999 when Fight Club came out. We were like, are we men as like the hunter-gatherer sense of the word? Yeah. Like, right? You know what I mean? Like, are we like killing to eat and defending the home? No. But what makes us men now? We're protectors of the realm. We're 50% of the great thinkers of the planet. It's our job to protect the home and to protect those that we love and to inspire the next generation. Again, we're only 50% of the equation, but if we play our roles correctly, there's no limit to what the human race can do. So I think that being a man is a huge task for me, seeing how I was raised predominantly by women. It's a huge role for me. So I think that being a man is about protecting the integrity and helping humanity move forward.
I love it. That's beautiful.
Right.
No, seriously. Look, no one has yet to say the same answer twice. And I'm always impressed by where that conversation goes. or where our conversation goes based on the answer to that question. So one thing you touched on, was being raised by women. So I know you were raised by a single mom. You also had input from your grandmother, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. She was a G. Liza Thomas was a G. She raised a lot of kids, actually. I have 50 first cousins. I have 9 uncles and aunts, and my mom was the last of 10. So I'm like, my brothers and I are like the last group, and it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot being like my grandmother was equally compassionate as she was vicious and ruthless. It was like she'll let anyone stay in this home. She'll let anyone stay here, but if you cross her, man, it's a wrap for you. Like, and the same thing with my mom. Like I grew up with like literally the neighborhood staying in my house. I slept on the floor with my brothers and whoever decided to show up, and it was challenging, but she handled it with a lot of grace, and she handled it the only way a Black woman can, like grace, strength, intelligence. You got to be versatile. So for me, I got to at least match that attitude when it comes to being a man. Let's say being aggressive and being offensive and being like and having that go-getter attitude is part of being a woman. That I have all this testosterone and ability to be aggressive. Then I got to use that for good. So they set the tone and they raised the bar very high.
It sounds like it. So wait, let me just verify the first number. You said 50 cousins. These are actual cousins.
50.
Wow.
Yeah, first cousins. Like they all lived in my house. They all, in and out of jail. Came in. You needed a place to hide up from the cops. You'd come over to 4B and just figure it out. This is what everyone came to figure out. My grandmother would call it the drop in because everybody just came through like it was their house. My grandmother always had something to eat. She always had something to, a warm place to sleep. She never turned anybody away. She just was a dope person, but she's vicious. She was letting criminals in your house. Obviously, you can't trust everybody. So she slept with that thing on her every night. And then in case some shit happened, it was like watching that, which is what made me be the man that I am today, because she didn't really trust men. My mom, my grandmother, my aunts, female cousins, they didn't really trust men. My grandmother would say, stick dicks didn't have any conscience. That's just, my grandmother would tell me that like as a child, she didn't pull any punches. If I brought a girl over, she would sit the girl down and be like, let me tell you something about these men. And I'm like, yo, I'm not even like, I was so innocent too. Like they did a good job, but they still didn't trust the fact that I was a man. They did a great job. I mean, I had a daughter really young, but she's in college now. Like I raised her, like I did my thing. Like, what you want me to do, man? But even, you can't I couldn't do better than that. But she just was like, hard on me. And my mom too. So that's all they knew was the hard way. So I appreciated them for making me who I am, making me more ferocious.
Yeah, absolutely. And to give a little context for everybody listening, Garnett was born, raised, still living in the LES, i.e. the Lower East Side, for those that are not New Yorkers or familiar with New York City. It's the Lower East Side. I'm a fellow native New Yorker, so I can attest to... No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just listening to you. Come on, I had to give it to you, Dave. Come on, Dave. Off the air. I had to give it to you. So for those who don't know, if you say that you're from New York, we mean New York City. But some of us are from upstate New York. And technically it's New York, but we don't really, I don't know what the equivalent would be in California. It's like,
but I'm not from upstate. Our boy is from upstate. Winston, shout out. No.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Brian Winston, shout out to
Brian Winston.
Shout out upstate New York. There you go.
Shout out upstate New York.
Which we'll get into in a second. However, Spanish Harlem, Garnett. Spanish Harlem, my man. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just putting it out there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Live la vida loca. Yes.
That's
okay. All right.
There you go.
Sorry.
No one went to say you're wrong. Man. There you go.
I was wrong. I was wrong. I was 100% incorrect. Don't know why you grew up.
Look,
I thought you grew up with Brian Wilson.
That's
I don't know.
Man,
I have
look,
no
that's
idea.
a story for another time. That'll be a part 2, I'm sure. Nevertheless.
But he turned out so well. Like
Thank you, sir.
Spanish Harlem. He turned out amazing. Now, your brother, you can see the Spanish Harlem influence.
My brother is a Jersey City influence. JC all the way.
Yeah, he is.
Shout out Jersey City. Yeah, we're shouting out a lot of shouting out a lot of the tri-state. JC, but we continue on as we do. So raised by women in the LES, I believe
Valkyries, warrior women.
And
yes.
So with the viciousness and with the energy, with the testosterone, some point you gotta figure out how to channel this energy. And I'm gonna assume, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, but at some point, martial arts comes into your life. Where did that love start?
At 7 years old, I was watching Ninja Turtles, all the Bruce Lee movies. I fell in love with the mysticism of it, like self-control, being in control of myself, because I couldn't find, I'm in a house full of 13 people. You know what I mean? Like, how can I possibly find control over my narrative or anything?
Yeah.
So martial arts allowed me to find that self-control. So I learned at 7, and also martial arts was everywhere in the Lower East Side. People would walk around with nunchucks in the street. It was a weird time. But also to have both elements of martial arts, where you had the aggressive, let's say hard styles, like karate and judo and boxing and stuff like that. But then you'd walk to school and you see 100 people, 7 o'clock in the morning doing Tai Chi, all on the same page.
That's right.
Different nationalities, different ethnicities, all just doing this, flowing together. And that, I didn't realize at the time, but it was such a pivotal mental image to see that. I grew up with nothing but diversity, so it formed my choices of what I want to be surrounded by. If you look behind me, there's a bunch of stuff from Asian influences. There's a lot of stuff from Alex Gray and Kobe, and then there's rock and roll influences. Because Lower East Side was a melting pot of all kinds of things, but martial arts was definitely a driving force, because I'm right next to Chinatown, and you know what I mean. And it was just being at the right place at the right time in the early '90s. It was inevitable that I would be into rock and roll, hip hop, and martial arts. This is what you did. It's just so normal.
Yeah.
I'm a very average person from the Lower East Side. It's very average interests. This is what everybody did.
Yeah, well, you managed to take it to a different level, which I'll get to in a second. But I don't want to lose sight of the storyline with women in your life, because I want to also speak about one of the probably most important women in your life, your daughter, Lizzie.
100%.
Shout out to
Lizzie. my prime motivation in my life.
See that? I just want to dig into this a little bit with fatherhood and your experience and lessons that you learn from martial arts, the LES, your mom, your aunts, your grandmother, LES at large, it seems, which it already starts to sound like the Lower East Side, outside of your family, had a huge influence on you and your upbringing. Which did for a lot of us in New York. You drop out of high school at 17.
I thought we weren't going to talk about this. I just spoke with you, Dave. Yeah, I dropped out of high school when I was 16. And then
16.
Yeah,
okay.
It's funny. This is almost the anniversary of me dropping out. Liz was born 5 months after 9/11, so it was just Today's the 14th. So 9/11 happened. I'm watching the towers literally crumble from the window from school. 2 months after that, her mom calls me and is like, "I'm pregnant. I'm 5 months pregnant."
Wow.
So Liz is born 4 months after that, and I turned 17. I turned 37 in so the 20th anniversary of all that stuff, of everything actually, of Liz, of dropping out of school, 9/11, and me, getting my things together. So I'm turning 37 next week. So I turned 17. I drop out. I get my GED. But now, you drop out. It's not. You can't just hustle and find some money. It's just not like old New York anymore. Yeah, the Patriot Act. You got the hustling is dead. You can't go out there and just make $1 like you used to. And now there's no commerce here in the lower Manhattan. Everything's shutting down. So now I really got to become resourceful and figure things out. So years go by and I'd never see Liz. I think I see Liz. No, I see Liz one time in 2 years. Her mom vanishes. So now I
Wow.
realize that I got to get my shit together so that I can go get and find Liz and have her in my life. So I had from the ground up, I had to petition to be her father on paper because her mother didn't put me on the birth certificate. So I got to go to court to prove I'm her father, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I had to go and petition to just be in her life and prove that I'm a valuable person in her life. So I had to accumulate all of this paperwork of everything that I paid for her. I have a stack of receipts from everything I paid for since she was 2 years old till I got custody of her at about 11 or 12. I have everything I've ever bought, just in case her mom tried to flip out. Liz was the turning point in my life that made me go in the straight and narrow. Like I had to get a GED. I had to do something with my life. I knew I had to do it with martial arts because I wasn't going to be happy doing anything else. And I was a really stubborn kid. There was no fucking way I was going to work at someone else's place to make them money and not make myself money, not be an entrepreneur. There was no fucking way. So, Liz was the reason why I leaned so hard towards like personal development. I was reading self-help books for years and trying to get my mind ready and my mind to prepare to be a father. Because my dad wasn't around either. He was dealing with his own issues at the time. And my mom wasn't around because she had to work. So I was really left to my own devices and many times, just kicked out of the house because, you get disagreement with Black parents, as you well know.
Sure.
It's either, their way or the highway. So sometimes you was on that highway, bro. Like, walking by yourself. So, navigating that while having a child, being homeless, no job, dropped out of school, no kid, and with a kid and you're 17 years old.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of options. So I really relied on a lot of government funded programs to help me along my way. Like Strive. If you're in the New York area, reach out to Strive if you need help with job placement. I think I got on welfare as well. I work directly across the street from the welfare office that I went to apply 20 years ago.
Really?
Today. Like
really?
I work, the gym that I'm at.
Yeah.
The gym I'm at is the best gym in the city, complete body. And that gym was bought out this other fabulous place called Clay. And they
I remember
turned
Clay.
it up a notch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same place as Clay. And right across the street is where I stood on line. I remember that fall when I dropped out of high school. And I watched that line every day and just in gratitude. Like, wow, so crazy that I was on that line asking for food stamps. And now I'm over here and I'm one of the best trainers in the city. It's all because of my daughter. Really, she was the catalyst. I don't know if I would have pushed myself as hard as I did if she wasn't around. But back to my mom and my grandmother, they hated men so much.
Yeah.
Even though I was trying to get all my shit together, they were just just talking down to me all the time about men and you just like your father, you're just like every other guy, you get a girl pregnant and then you're not gonna handle business. And I was like, fuck all that. I had generational trauma and generational issues to overcome, and I was not gonna lose. And I wasn't gonna do it their way. I had to do it my way. There's the only way that I was gonna get it done. So, and just because you got to do it by yourself doesn't mean that it can't be done. Stay focused, and you find something that drives you. You can do anything.
Yeah,
you can do anything.
Yeah, look, the generational trauma thing. It's something that's becoming more apparent and more of a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I mentioned this a lot that I feel like our generation of men in particular, and you mentioned this earlier about the complexity of being a man these days. I feel like our generation is a generation that's begun to really dive into all the facets, your feminine energy, your masculine energy, sensitivity, what it really means to be a dad, and not just, show up once in a while, give a pat on the back and move on. But there's real parenting there. There's real values there. And the biggest thing, what you're illustrating, it's something I'm experiencing with my 3.5-year-old daughter, is they're teaching you at the same time. So as you just said, you wouldn't have done all of these things had it not been for
No,
Lizzie.
I wouldn't have.
You know, like,
I don't think so.
And I think besides just sheer motivation of having a child, I think there's so much more there that comes to the table that a child brings to you that you may not know plainly in plain sight and just understand, oh yeah, they're teaching me this, this, and this. These are the 5 values. And from this,
Right.
fatherhood, here I am, a great father. It's essentially what you're speaking to, where they almost transform you as much as you transform and try to do your best to give them love, support, and opportunity, essentially.
That's right.
So, I mean,
essentially that it's a symbiosis of information and connectivity. When, you know, you look at Liz like, oh, that's like Brian would be like, oh, that's clearly Garnett's kid. But she influences me just as much as I influence her.
Sure. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, she steals all my clothes and shit when she was living here. But like the way that she wears it is not like me at all. She'll cut the top off and put like, you know, stockings or whatever. Like she's her own vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And towards the end, I was like, yo, Liz, does this outfit look right? I'm old. Like, I don't, what do you think about this? She goes, yeah, that works. Or like, nah, man, you can't. I'm colorblind as well. So she was like my go-to person to ask to help me put together things. I can't see colors that well. So yeah, it's what you're experiencing now will continue into perpetuity as long as they're close. They're close to you. It's a beautiful, having a daughter is a blessing. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like your daughter has, a lot of people say it softens you? Like a daughter, does it? Do you feel like
I think
it's like, you can calm down?
It expands. So,
because I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way. I felt more ferocious. I was like, yo, I would murder
that messes with my daughter, right?
Like, you know, obviously messes with my daughter, but like in life, like when Brian met me, I was a wild animal. I was ready to.
When I met you,
when you met me, I was just like,
dude,
like 10 years ago, we met at the. Yeah,
we clashed
when we first met. I was like, yo, who the fuck is this? Niggas wearing sweaters and scarves and shit. Get the fuck out of my face. I was like,
and a little side note to the scarf and sweater wearing is that I used to have a Euro Dave. I used to have a nickname, Euro Dave, because not only the style, but the style was influenced by my world traveling. So for me, at an early age, I quickly understood the importance of getting out of your habitat of where you live and knowing there are billions of people on this globe that are sharing time and space with us. I need to go see what their experiences are like. I need to go understand what they're like. And of course, you grow up in America, you grow up as a young melanated kid, and it's like, oh, European ideals are the way to go. So I got to go to Italy. I got to go to France. I got to go to England. I got to hit all the, your major European countries. I got to get all that check marked. So yeah, I come back. At this point, I'm traveling. And then I meet this young man, Garnett, from the Lower East Side.
David's like, wow, who is this person? He goes back with a fucking beret. I'm like, who the fuck? I always felt like you and I were like the Brian Winston barometer. Because like you know what I mean? Like you're like the yin and I'm the yang to what he appreciates, because he can be Euro-ish.
He could.
At a certain part he can be, but he's really like a gangster.
Or he thinks he is.
He thinks he is. He inside
again.
He thinks he is. He thinks he can beat me up. I'm like, why do you?
He grew up in upstate New York listening to DMX.
You guys.
There you go.
Right. And like Sean Price, and I'm like, bro, you're not. Yeah, he loves like people from Brownsville. He like, and I don't know why he relates to that. He's like everything that's not that at all. He has so much love around him too. When you met me, I was literally fighting for custody for my daughter. I was going back and forth to Philadelphia to go to court And I would have my little briefcase. I'm 20, I don't know, 25 years old, 24 years old, fighting for my custody of my 9-year-old daughter at the time, and going to see her every other weekend. And when you are in that mode,
yeah,
and I'm hustling, I'm doing I've got 4 jobs. When you met me, I was doing personal training,
oh, that's
bodyguard
right,
work,
yeah,
security at
that's
nightclubs,
right,
and teaching karate to kids at the same time. I have 4
yeah,
jobs, and I
yeah,
wasn't fucking around. And then Brian, reason why I bring up Brian so much, guys, is because Brian Winston was the first person I remember in my adult life to show me kindness. He was the first person to be like, "Yo, you want to just hang out and watch the game in my house?" And then he introduced me to you guys, DB, and this whole world of model attractive people
thank
like
you, sir.
yourselves. And then Brian was like, Garnett, you're actually attractive too. I don't hang out with ugly people, bro. That's what he was saying. I don't hang out with ugly people. And I was like, really, Brian?
Shaw, stop.
Stop it. So I was like, all right. I still, yes, stop it, but keep it coming. I just never. He really helped me with my self-esteem. So Brian Winston is a very pivotal person in my life. He just,
Yeah,
just being kind where he needed to be changed everything. I still am friends with everyone that I've ever met through Brian. A lot of his clients, that he's retired from personal training, reached out to me to work with me because me and Brian are so close. And then now we're really close. Me and the
sure,
clients and I are like this. We're, a lot of people that I work with, Chris Cox. Oh man, I met him when he trained with Brian. We just fell in love with each other. Love that guy, man. Noah Tepperberg. He loved that guy, yo. I love how he just loves his job. He loves his family. Those guys are just incredible, man. And I see why Brian was attracted to them because they're just remarkable people. Brian has excellent taste in humans, I have to say. So I know
no, but
this podcast is not about him, but he was inspirational to
exactly,
me. That's how we know each other. And if it wasn't for that kindness, I wouldn't have gotten through that phase in my life where I needed friends and I couldn't hang out with the people that I was hanging out with before because they were just so
sure,
negative. And they're at where they're at now. They're still doing the same shit they
sure,
were doing before, just getting heart disease, dying, or sick. And during that time, I was still becoming who I am. It's so crazy that I'm so close to 40 now. But now I can look back and be like, this is probably the best case scenario. Meeting you guys. I didn't think I was gonna make it this far, to be honest. And I don't know. Hopefully this story motivates people to anything is possible. If you can go from being homeless and
yeah,
being a teen dad, not having any job, people just gave up on me. They just
yeah,
we've seen
yeah,
this story
exactly.
before.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you know what I mean? We've seen, yeah.
right.
Oh really? You need help? Get out
Right.
of town. Me too.
Right.
You better figure that shit
Right.
out. Yeah, man. But what really changed me was a few years ago. I started studying neuro-linguistic programming (NLP), and that helped me tremendously with understanding people and understanding myself, so that I can become
Yeah.
more resourceful when it came to these situations. Because I found that when I'm training my clients, or I'm hanging out with friends, most of the people are 10 years older than me. Brian's is 7 years older than me. You guys are my older brothers, but they usually ask me for advice
Sure.
because I've been through so much already. I'm the younger guy in every friend group that I have, but I've been through everything. I've lost everything. I got it back. Been through everything, man. There's nothing that surprises me at this point.
All right. Before I get into this next question, I've got to mention something. Target is partnering with HBCUs to support the next generation of Black talent. One of the ways they're teaming up with HBCUs is through their HBCU Design Challenge, where HBCU students submit designs to be included in Target's Black History Month collection. I think that's pretty dope. I think the Black History Month collections are pretty dope. Not only are they on full display every single year, but HBCU students are going to bring it. So I'm excited to see what's coming out in 2022. So fam, check back during Black History Month to see the latest winners' designs that will be featured in Target's 2022 Black History Month collection. Celebrate your legacy, invest in the future. Together, we are Black Beyond Measure. Visit target.com/Black Beyond Measure to learn more. Okay, let's get back into it. Can you explain to the listeners what neurolinguistics encompasses? NLP, neurolinguistic programming?
Yes. Neurolinguistic programming is the ability to understand the mapping and reality that we all share individually. There's a collective unconsciousness that human beings share, right? Like Carl Jung
Yeah.
talks about it with his with archetypes, right? That's why superhero movies are so popular. They represent these internal representations of how we perceive our father figures, our mother figures, our brothers, our comedians in our life, the
Yeah.
tragedy,
Yeah.
and the shadow self, right? The unknown, the subconscious mind. To understand all those things is to just to understand our patterns in daily life, and to recognize those patterns gives you this place of mastery over your own internal domain and the ability to listen to people. And then you could also, like you can probably Google it and just like pick up
Sure.
artists that use this stuff
Yeah.
to like influence women, which is complete nonsense. No one ever does anything that they don't want to do. There's no such thing as like hypnotism in a sense where you're not going to be able to do it. The subconscious is really driving the
Right.
bus. If the subconscious
Right.
doesn't want to do it, it ain't happening. It's not happening. So you can use your influencer powers all you want, but at the end of the day, I find that fitness is the perfect way to execute NLP is because people already want to do this. There's a part of them that want to be better, and that part of them needs to be nourished. And understanding someone else's communication style and reality is so helpful to doing that. Because a lot of times we just, trainers, they want to input their methodology on them, on the client, right? Everything that works for me isn't going to work for you. You might have different goals than I do. You have a totally different perspective of what you want to achieve. But if I'm able to listen to what you have to say and hear it accurately without going into like my own story about it,
Sure.
which is very hard to do, going into an interpretation.
And is that essentially where you went from personal training and solely fitness to performance training, essentially, and the phrase you use, life performance, with a focus on fitness?
That's right. It's a subtle game. It's a subtle situation. Life performance. Life performance is communicating to someone's subconscious mind so that they make decisions that overall affect their fitness level. It's been 100% effective with everyone that I work with. When you have like certain personalities, you have to pass what's called the macho test. You ever meet somebody?
Let's go.
Well, let's keep Brian Winston in there. Brian Winston he's very he's very stubborn. You can't just tell Brian, "Yo, this shit is the best thing I've ever seen."
Yeah.
He's not gonna. You already know, right? He's like, yeah. He's not gonna listen to you. You got to be very use a suggestive tone with Brian because he's deeply internal. He's deeply internally motivated. So you can't communicate to his like external. Oh, don't you see what everybody else is doing? He doesn't give a shit about what everybody else is doing. You got to communicate to him as it relates to him. When he started doing NLP, he's a master practitioner as well. It took years for him to actually execute and like put the money down and do it. It took him years. But he just saw the way that my life was and like how I was communicating. He was like, oh, I got to do this. This is great. I'm going to do that. He went to the same place that I went to with the same instructors. But sometimes it's a long game. It's a subtle, communication of the subconscious mind. It doesn't work the way you think it does. It's very subtle. You got to really listen to what people feel. And that's what I'm passionate about. That's it. Communication is the essence of creating real positive state change and behavioral change in people. It's not just oh, I fixed my habits. It takes 30 days to fix my habit, which is bullshit. You can fix your habits like this. It's just, do you believe that fixing this habit is going to get the change that you're looking for? That's when things get a little messy. Because sometimes people aren't congruent with themselves. Yeah, I want to stop smoking cigarettes, but
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that serious. I'm not that sick yet. It's not like I have a cough or something. My breath stinks and my teeth are yellow. It's not like any of that shit. It's just, I'll do it when I feel like it. Some people Because some people smoke cigarettes because it eases stress, and some people smoke cigarettes because it's
Right.
like, fuck
Exactly.
you.
Exactly.
Who the fuck are you to tell me I can't smoke cigarettes? Who are you? Same thing with food. I have clients that just eat food just to say fuck you. It's their fuck you. Yep, so what? I'm overweight
Right.
and I'm getting
Right.
paid. Fuck you. What you gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? But then it's up to those type of people like Brian Winston to make the decision for themselves. But
Mm.
it's our goal as coaches to incept the idea to help them move along to their journey a little faster because they did hire you. They want to be
Correct.
better for a reason. That's right. They
Sure.
gave you the
Sure.
money, and it's a lot of money. It ain't cheap. So you want positive state change, and the
Mm.
key to motivation is understanding motivational language. What direction is it coming from? Like if you're internal, like Brian, or if you're external. Look at this. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, he looks
Right.
amazing.
Right.
Oh, I want to be like that. That's an externally motivated person, right? Or towards or away. Brian is very towards. You're gonna get Brian and yourself as well. Like, yo, you're gonna get you guys by like, yo, that looks dope. Don't you want to be like that? Don't you, that looks really cool. I'm gonna go towards my
Mm.
goals. I have goals and aspirations. I want to
Yeah.
achieve. All these words are like towards, towards, towards. But away from people,
Hmm.
they irritate people that like towards language. Like away from people are like, hey, listen, what? So, what are your fitness goals? Oh, I just don't want to be like my
Right.
dad. Now that sounds like a negative tone, but it's not negative. It's not like a bad
Right.
thing. It's just they are
Right.
motivated by moving the fuck away from how their dad lives and acts. To make that distinction is everything. Because if I'm like, let's go climb this mountain to like that away
Right.
person, they're gonna look at me like, you need to
Yeah.
calm the fuck
Yeah.
down. You know what I'm saying? So it's about identifying those
Mm.
motivational pattern language and then listen to productivity language. Are they proactive? Are they reactive? Right? Do they like options or do they like procedures? Some people,
Right.
they go to the
Right.
gym. When you go to the gym, you're teaching somebody something, it's procedural. But there's a spectrum. You know what I'm saying? When you're teaching somebody something, there's a spectrum. It's like, all right, we can do this and we can do that. Tell me how you feeling today. They're really leading to the same thing. It's just how you present it. Like when you're talking to your daughter, hey baby girl, you want to eat your vegetables? I don't want to eat vegetables. Okay, well you can eat your
Right.
vegetables
Right.
now, or you can
Right.
eat your vegetables later when they're
Exactly.
cold.
Either way.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
You
That's
gotta eat.
you either way.
Exactly.
We gonna eat
You
these
go eat the
vegetables.
vegetables. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
gonna eat these vegetables tonight, right? Like you'll get there one day. Like it's like who am
Right. That's right.
I?
Yeah.
Was a
That's
dad
right.
longer than
Yep.
I've been anything else in my life, Dave. I've been a dad longer than anything.
Yeah. And that question's interesting because for me, it brings up that thought process or the concept rather of multiple identities that we all carry. So, there's the phrase I'm sure a lot of people have heard where you go out into
Mm-hmm.
public and you generally wear a mask because that's your persona when you go out into the world. When you come home, you have a different
Right.
persona, whether you're with self, you have a
Right.
different persona with yourself, hopefully the truest self
Right.
with, if you're in a relationship, if you're a
Mm-hmm.
father,
Right.
whatever the case may be. When you're working, different persona. We button up the voice and we, depending on where you work, corporate or not. But there are a
Right.
lot of these different personas. But I think the most
Mm-hmm.
important ones to us tend to be within what are we passionate about. One of that should be, I hope, for most parents is being a parent, and for you, it clearly sounds that way, which has been a huge breakthrough in your life. So then you also can't lose sight of Garnett Strother, like who is this man, and outside of all that you've done in the persona of dad, where is Garnett?
I think I'm the same. That's the thing. I knew I was coming to this place when around the time I started hanging out with you guys. I
Yeah.
knew that I was arriving at this place because I was like, yo, I'm
Yeah.
like mad different people. Like I'm into like mad different things. So it was difficult for me to not express myself. because yes, I think most people perceive me as having a persona because I dress differently, I look different, and I literally just came
Right.
from work dressed like I just
Exactly.
came from the Havana in Miami. Like this is how I am. This is who I am. I don't have like, and when I started going out with you guys, I didn't have time to
Yeah.
go home,
Yeah.
shower, change. Like I just finished working 12 hours, right? I would shower at the gym, wear like air out my shit and head to the club or wherever we were going that day, right? So I just kept that going. I was like, I'm just gonna be me. I'm gonna express myself the best I possibly can in all facets of what I do, which is why my Instagram looks like that and like the trips look like that because I just gotta be me. I just gotta be authentically me. That's why I got into this business. It's because I knew that
Sure.
I couldn't be myself wearing a fucking t-shirt from somebody else's gym. You know, wearing a name tag, wearing a hat, and like I just can't do that. I'm never gonna be happy or
Right.
free unless I do
Yeah.
that. You know, you're bringing
So,
up those
yeah.
all Jungian archetypes too. The self, you know, the persona, the ego, the super ego, the depth of the. I just made a post about that actually. It's funny that you just brought that up about the super ego
Yeah.
and how it's like that. It's like the parental unit, that father
Right.
voice. You know, that it's a masculine
Exactly.
voice
Yeah.
that tells you you can't.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You should
Yeah.
be doing this like so and so. You should be over there going to school. That's the harsh superego. But the superego is there to protect us. It's part of that like Superman type archetype that helps us. You know, a huge influence of mine because I didn't have a father figure
Right.
were
Right.
superheroes, and I realize that now because of the Jungian archetypes that they represent. You
Right.
know,
Right.
Superman is the ego. You know, Batman is the unknown, the shadow self. You know, uh, there's the anima and the animus. Anima is a man with a feminine inside, right? Internally, they have feminine qualities, not necessarily like effeminate, but compassionate,
Right.
patient. That is part of our natural, what attracts us to a mate,
Yes.
having a little
Right.
seed of the other inside of them. Then you have the animus, like a woman that has masculine characteristics, like Wonder Woman or Black Widow or whatever you're into, right? So all of these archetypes have existed throughout society, throughout time, and they exist within us in our collective unconsciousness. That's why we resonate with them so much. And to have awareness of this has been greatly helpful for me to navigate my own journey on self discovery. Once
Hmm.
again, as I get older,
Yeah.
this is the first birthday I haven't had my daughter around since she was born. Next week, you know, this is it. Sometimes if I don't know if it felt lonely, but I don't know if I've processed this thing. It's only been a few weeks, so I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be going, but that's okay. I felt like I didn't know before when I was homeless. I figured it out, but hopefully it's a place where I can be proud of my work. You know, I don't feel like I'm done yet at all. I'm just getting started. In fact, now that I can focus all my energy on my creative outlets, I really want to transform the personal training industry into a much more compassionate place for trainers to be themselves.
Yeah. And I mean, look, from everything I see that you're doing from afar and have seen while I was in New York, you're totally doing that. And, this isn't, smoke. This is real fact. And I'm being genuine here. You as a person, number one, let me just say that first and foremost, because like you said earlier, when we first met, it was a lot of clashing. And I just said, Brian, I don't know what you see in this guy. I don't know why you hang around this guy.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? Yeah, I know you did. Yeah. What are you doing?
Me either.
What are you
That makes
doing?
two of us.
Yeah.
I said this.
But
You were like, "Yo, what are you doing?" I was like, "What are you doing, Brian?" Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree that he should not have been hanging out with me.
yeah.
I totally.
No,
It's like,
I
what is
know.
it? He just likes the gutter so much. That was
Probably.
just so.
He's angry
He
that
loves
you
that
found
shit.
peace.
I think
That's
he's
a
mad that I
funny
found peace.
dichotomy. Yeah, but I think in the grand scheme though, from that meeting point, from that place years later, over a decade later now, where you are as a person, one, two, what you're doing in the industry and, taking things from just fitness to a true life performance basis, which I honestly think is the future. So I feel like you've tapped into that early, because with all of the conversations now, thankfully, around mental health, and especially in Black and brown communities, which has been way too long of a time coming, I think now what you're doing, that's only the next step, and you're ahead of the game. And then you also have Independent Trainer Podcast, where again, you do have a podcast. Season one wrapped up. Correct.
That's right.
There you go.
I do have a podcast. Season 1 is in the books.
There we go.
It's in the books. I'm happy about it. I got some heavy hitters coming into season 2. I can't wait to have them on board. You know, Brian Winston's got to be in season 2. He didn't quite make it to season 1.
Yeah.
But the fact that the trainers don't have an end game strategy for what they want to accomplish is a problem. We kind of work until we're dead or can't move. You know, most trainers don't have insurance. Most trainers are they were athletes, and now they're like, I guess I'll do this because I'll stay involved with the sport I love, but then lose sight of what really makes them who they are. This is all I ever wanted to do.
Right.
Train people. I wanted to become masterful and win so it could validate me as a coach. I only wanted to fight and win championships so I can be like, I know how to fight. See, guys? But I always just wanted to be a coach. That's all I ever wanted to do. So communication was just
as a coach, yeah.
Oh, what is the number one thing that I need as a coach, as a master, right? It doesn't matter. There's always so many ways to get somebody bigger muscles or more endurance or more mobility, flexibility, or mindset coaching. There's only one way. There's only one underlying factor, right? And that's the ability to communicate and listen. If you have that, it doesn't matter about your skill set. Your skills will improve over time. So if you're a young trainer or someone that's just starting out in any field, just focus on your ability to communicate your ideas. And secondly, your ability to listen so that you can receive information accurately and not so much focus on how it's presented to you, right? Because the stories that people give you, they muddle up the brain. Focus on the form, how the structure of the information is coming to you. That is where the truth is. The truth is in the form of how it's being presented to you. What words are they using? What inflections in their diction and in their tonality, their body language? Are they congruent or not? What part of the brain are they accessing? Those are things that you should be concerned with. Other than that, it's all art now. Once you understand how to change the body, and you're a trainer, and there's only one way to get bigger. You eat more, and you lift 8 to 12 reps accurately. That's it. There's only one way to get stronger. There's only one way to get faster. There's only one way to. That's easy. Anybody can do that.
Yeah. But
can you communicate that effectively to somebody that needs it? That had a fucking day just now. They had a day. Garnett, I had a day. Okay, work has been kicking my ass today. Can you communicate to someone that's completely unresourceful? It's 6 p.m. and they are done. Their brain is somewhere else. You got to be a badass trainer. You got to be a badass motherfucking trainer to do something like that, or anything in any field. Because most people right now, after the pandemic, during the pandemic, because of the racial inequality, because of inequality between men and women, they're exhausted.
Yeah. So I want to segue with that point. What do you do in terms of daily routine to feed mind, body, and or soul? I mean, I'm a believer in all three, but I'm not going to hold you. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So my day to day. Well, now that my daughter's gone, I'm just like an elderly man now. I'm just like, I walk my dog in the morning thinking about what was. Yes. When I was a young man, I could kick this high, and my karate was the best in all the land. And I listened to the words of Bruce Lee, such a fundamental man. That guy was so well read. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said it best. He was just like, he was just on another level.
Right.
And the fact that he accumulated such incredible friends, like just the greatest basketball player who's ever lived, just casually hanging out. No big deal. The fact that he influenced so many people because of the work he put in, it gives me hope to continue. Then after I walk my dog, I take my meds. I was diagnosed with cancer last
Wow.
year. So I went through a whole year with thinking that I was gonna die. So when Chadwick Boseman passed away, I was like, and he didn't tell anybody. I was like, I feel you, nigga. Went back to the doctor and found out that I do not have cancer, but I do have some two thumbs up. So I do have some liver issues though to take care of. I found that out in Egypt. Something was going on, and I was trying to figure out what the deal was, and so I got that. That's a continuing journey. So I'm really thankful to just be here, honestly. So I take my medication. I usually eat something before I go out, and I chill,
Hmm.
and then I train. I only do 4 sessions a day. I do 8 a.m. to noon, and that's it. I don't do any more than that. After that, I take a break from 12 to 1. I eat again, and then I train a group of trainers, my Antifa Fight Club. If you hate misogyny,
Love
homophobia,
it.
transphobia, and racism, come holler at your boy. We'll teach you how to fight, beat the shit out of
Nice.
Nazis. Yeah, man, it's like a dream. Every day at 1 p.m. is holler at your boy. After that, I train for about 3 hours a day. So after we do a little fisticuffs and tossing each other around and jujitsu and Muay Thai and boxing, we lift every day. Every day's
Sure.
leg day. So we start off with some legs, some lactic acid training, something little that requires some dexterity, so we're not moving in the same direction. Shout out to Rich Beretta, he's the best trainer who's ever lived,
Hmm.
the genius intellect.
Yeah.
And he kind of like put together a program that was actually built for Steve Nash
Right. Yep.
back in the day when he was with the Lakers, and he's best friends. They were really good friends with Beretta, and he used to train David Blaine as well, as you remember. A lot of those techniques and things that they learned, like how to do strongman stuff like bend
Hmm.
steel and like hold your breath for 20 minutes and then like just to keep Steve Nash's agility up. A lot of those things I still implement into my own training, and with my group. So shout out to Beretta. Love you, dude. And then after that, I eat again at 4. I come home, I walk my dog,
Sure.
and then I write a lot, a lot. I write. I don't drink because of this whole liver situation and the cancer situation. So I just chill out and I write and I try to spend time with and listen to people's stories as much as I can. I'm really passionate about film. I'm writing a graphic novel. It's about a few things, but like it's dope. I like it. I think it's pretty good. It's got good reviews so far. Um, I'm writing a book about being a dad, about being a black dad and the pitfalls you're gonna have to navigate. Chapter 1 is like just about like the realization that once you have a child, you now know that you are going to die. Nothing reminds you of your own mortality like having a child. Because if
Yeah.
this thing is
Yeah.
coming after me, probably
Right.
good. I'm not going to be around forever. And you start thinking that way as a dad. So imagine having that thought process when you're 17. It's like, okay, I ain't gonna be here. You're supposed to be enjoying your life and thinking you're invincible, but you really just
Right.
like, I don't know, guys.
Right.
That dread, that existential dread that follows you around, and how do you turn that into joy? How do you appreciate every moment you have? Even if it's just a weekend, shit didn't work out with your baby mother, and you gotta be resourceful. What is the best thing to do for your kid when you're unresourceful? How do you go back into
Yeah.
this lake of replenished energy? That's what the book is about. So I started writing that on the tablet
Yeah,
that I
for
showed
real.
you, called The Remarkable Two. Remarkable, sponsor me. Yeah, I write a lot, and I train with martial arts every day. I teach. The Antifa Fight Club is all trainers though. It's all like people that are like athletes and whatnot. I might train civilians one day, but you got to have some like athletic background. But yeah, I'm just really passionate about communication.
Wow.
I'm writing. I'm
Wow.
creating a. I'm also working on creating a union for personal trainers. It's about time that we unionize and we come together and be able to create our own destiny because these gyms don't give a
Exactly.
shit about
Yeah.
us. They just
Exactly.
don't. And so
Exactly.
they will when they see that their pockets getting a little lighter because we don't have to train in the gym anymore. I can train you right now through the screen. We don't need you anymore. So you're going to have to start sweetening up the deal, I think, making this thing a little more accessible, making this thing worthwhile to get out the house because I don't have to pay you. On top of that, trainers give their fucking lives to this business. I
Yeah.
have trainers that can
Yeah.
barely walk because they were living a life before this and there's no exit strategy. There's nowhere for them to go after this. No 401k. What are you going to do? Marry one of your clients? And I'm just going to keep going, man. And I want to have another kid one day. So who knows? Yeah, I would love. Oh man, I would love to have 3 more, and I want to name them after my brothers, because my brothers deserve to have a dad around when they were younger, and I would like to symbolically represent our upbringing and pay tribute to them, because they're phenomenal men as well. My brother Blake, if you're listening, because you're in the next room most likely, and my brother Sean, they're phenomenal people. My brother Sean's story is even crazier. That kid is a fucking miracle kid. And yeah, man, it's just, I would love to have more kids. I'd love to have more kids and do it right, and do it with the right woman, and have that experience that you experience. You know what I mean? It's great. It's all right, wife, mwah, see you later. I'm gonna go. See you later. Best wife in the world.
Yeah.
Take it easy. No worry.
Oh, I know
I'll
what you're
take
talking
care
about.
Of the baby this time. I'll put it
There
in
you
bed.
go.
You're tired.
I know what you're talking about.
Are you sure? Have that you know what I mean? A fucking wholesome ass life. You know what I'm talking about?
Hear the birds chirping in the
Own
background.
some property. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Go to the park. Hold one hand.
dope.
She has the
I
other
love
hand.
it. Ladies listening, check them
I'm
out.
I'm wholesome. Yeah, right. I'm wholesome as shit, man. Holla at your boy. I'm wholesome.
Well,
yeah.
Then you'll start to weed them out.
Maybe. What's your credit score like?
Oh man, look, Garnett, I can keep this up. We can keep going. I remember Once Upon a Time in Vegas. That's a good movie title. Once Upon a Time in Vegas. Yeah, we spent many an hours.
Yeah.
Talking about all the things existential, deep, and universal, and time and space and such. Talk to me.
Yeah, where are you at with theology right now? Are you still God?
Let's you know what? No, on that note, let's leave that for part 2. Let's bring it back. I want to jump into that with you. That'll probably a 3-hour conversation, 3-hour podcast, but I'm here for it. But let's leave it there. Let's hold there. That's the cliffhanger. That's a cliffhanger for our conversation. Yeah. So definitely happening again. In the meantime, and you've mentioned all the projects. I mean, you got a lot going on, which I love, because now you're independent, take your life back. So look, brother, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for making the time on this podcast today. I appreciate you going man to man with me as a true man that I know you to be, and appreciate your vulnerability, your openness, and just all the gems that you dropped along the way, brother. I feel like, as you said earlier, even though you may have been younger, or you continue to be younger in a lot of the groups that you run with, a lot of the wisdom, I feel, is not based on a number. It's based on your experience, and therefore based on your journey. And you've had a hell of a journey. And the fact that you've come out on top.
It is. It's not the age, it's the mileage.
It's the mileage, and where you've gone with said mileage. So I appreciate you. And look, for those who want to follow the Garnett Strother journey further, check out the Independent Trainer podcast. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. Everywhere. Yeah, man. Spotify, except for Apple. Yeah, everything. Spotify, the Independent Trainer podcast, Strutter. There you go. _PT everywhere. StrutterPT.com, Twitter, all of that stuff, baby. Holla at your boy if you have any questions about communication and how you can take your communication to the next level. I love to have conversations about that. I love the inner workings of the mind and how to motivate and get people to be productive towards their journey. Beautiful. So. Beautiful. Well, on that note, Black Love fam, make sure to tell another brother, king or queen, about Man to Man, so we can keep these convos going and keep building each other up. And if there's someone you want to hear on Man to Man, connect with me on Instagram at Wasicki, WASICKI. And until next week, peace, love, and thanks, Brian. Shout out Brian, motherfucking Winston!
immortal Brian Winston.
The immortal Brian Winston. That's a wrap.